I think I accidentally turned collecting books into a personality trait. Somewhere along the way, I stopped reading the books I actually bought. You might be able to relate to this. I've seen some of these videos floating around. So I was inspired to finally count every fiction book I own. Not nonfiction, not health, not theology, political, whatever. Just fiction. And the numbers honestly shocked me. I think it could have been worse. Thankfully, it wasn't. As of right now, I own...
Drum roll, please.
343 books, of which, thankfully, I've read more than half. However, there are 153 unread sitting on these shelves behind me. And I think it's just time to admit I have a book over consumption problem. So today, I'm starting something that I think is going to completely change how I read and how I consume and purchase books. And honestly, I'm hoping it also helps to heal my relationship with BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, and all my book social media platforms. Because when I sat down to make this video, I realized the heart of this problem is me. Hello. I'm Marissa. I'm one of the co-hosts of Book Talks podcast. And if you love books and reading vlogs and honest reading conversations, you're in the right place. Today is the start of what I hope becomes a long-running series where I tackle my physical TBR, of which there are many. Stop overbuying books, start saving for my future financial goals, and finally read the books I already own, and hopefully discover worlds and stories that I will love for years to come. Because clearly, I have enough. You can't tell from what's behind me. I recently sat down and counted every single fiction book I own. Again, this is not nonfiction, theology, health, self-help. This is just my fiction. So romance, thriller, fantasy, sci-fi, that. I have a lot of books. Most importantly, I have 153 physical books sitting on the shelves behind me that I have not read. I also have one DNF that I'm just pretending doesn't exist. I am trying to sell it on Pango, but I'm just kind of pretending it's not there. I knew I had a lot of books, but seeing that number laid out in front of me really makes me stop. Because 151 is not just a stack of books. It's not enough to fit on a TBR book cart. For me, it's years of reading, because I am not a fast reader. It's money, it's impulse buying, it's honestly pressure. I look at my bookshelves and feel pressure. And I feel guilty instead of excited to read the books that at one point I was very excited to read, excited enough to purchase them, but apparently not excited enough to read right away, because that's the problem with purchasing books. You think you have time, but you don't always have time. For me, I think I know exactly how I got here. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but I started thinking about why I have so many books. When I first got into BookTube, really Bookstagram, and just the online reading spaces, I felt like I needed to keep up. I kind of felt like a fraud because I didn't own all the books that people were talking about. And I wanted to belong. I wanted to know what people were talking about. I wanted to be on the hype train. I wanted to have the books everyone else had. And if I'm being completely honest, I just wanted to feel like a real book content creator. And that stems from a place deep inside me. I've always had this feeling kind of inadequacy. And I'm not going to make this some therapy session, but I grew up as a dancer and I had curves. I had boobs. I had hips. I wasn't overweight, but as a dancer, I was overweight. And people let me know. And that has always kind of stuck with me. I've grown a lot, I would say, in the past few years. I've actually lost a lot of weight, which that's not what this video is about. But I think I'm finally at a place where I'm realizing I can just be me, and that's enough. That's enough. And if I'm not up to date on the latest books, if I don't have what everyone else has, I have to be okay with that, because at the end of the day, when I go to bed, it's just me. I have to be okay with me. But thinking back on my book content creation journey when Kayla and I started the podcast, every time there was a hyped up release, I bought it. Every viral fantasy, every thriller, every time Netflix made a new show, I bought the book. Even though I didn't have time to read it. I literally, and I will show you this, I have books, box sets of books, the Caraval series, the Red Rising series, books in packages that I have never opened. The whole series. I even remember one time making a cutesy little book talk video about it. Like, ooh, let me show you all the books book talk influenced me to buy that I haven't read yet. And I thought it was so cute and fun. And now I think about how cringe that is, how big of a problem that is. I even bought books that weren't my taste. I like romance books, don't get me wrong, but I bought so many romance books that were not at the top of my TBR because they had cute covers, because that's what people were talking about. And over time, buying books just slowly became separate from reading. And I say over time kind of generously because in truth, I've always been a slow reader. And so I knew I had high hopes that I would read these books right away. But I think in my heart of hearts, I probably knew it wasn't going to happen because at the time I started the podcast with Kayla, I was reading, well, at the time I started, I wasn't reading very much. Then we started and it was like 25 books a year, 32 books a year, which is fine. I'm not dogging that number because I'm still close to that number. I'm closer now to 50 books a year, but I'm not one of those people who reads 365 books a year. I'm just not. I'm a slow reader. And even doing audiobooks, I like to really absorb and take in everything I'm reading. And I also take time to decompress after a book and really think about it. So I'm not getting through 300 books a year. So if I'm buying 50 books a year, unless I'm reading every single book I buy, there's no way I'm getting through that. But buying for me became this excitement, and then reading became this pressure. I kind of stopped asking myself, do I actually want to read this? And started asking, oh, do I need to own this? Is this what everyone else has? Can I make video content with this book? If I can make more than one video, it's worth it. And look, again, I don't think social media created this problem. I just think it amplified it in me. It amplified the existing feeling of inadequacy, that existing feeling of imposter syndrome. Oh, I have a book podcast. I have to own all the books. I need a book wall behind me in my videos. That when I got these bookshelves, and I don't know if I have pictures to insert, but when I got these bookshelves, they were practically empty. I bought 6 white bookshelves and had enough space to fill up maybe one section. So then it became a need to fill up the entire bookshelves because a real book content creator has a book wall. A real content creator has all the fairy loot books. A real content creator has it all. But I am finally at a place where I just feel more grounded in who I am personally, but also who I am as a reader. I know what I like. I like thrillers. I love my murder books. I know what type of romance books I like now. I like fluffy rom-coms. I know what type of fantasy books I like. Give me dragons. I don't need all the smut. If there's smut, that's okay. But give me sci-fi. And at the end of the day, I don't need to own every popular book. I don't need to buy books to feel relevant. And I definitely don't need to keep spending money on books that I may never actually read. Because your girl has goals. I want to own a house someday. I want to travel. I want to travel more. And there are things called libraries. And I own books to read already. So why am I spending money on books that I'm not going to get to read? So here is what I'm doing. I am starting a physical TBR challenge. I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to be extreme. It's not a punishment. It's not anything bad. I just want to be more intentional about what I'm reading. So I have some rules. Rule number 1, I cannot buy a new book or used, and I'm going to set that rule for myself and explain it, but I cannot buy any form of new book until I have read 10 books from my physical TBR. Which means if I want to buy the newest release, if I want to go out and see what everyone else is reading, I have to earn it. And that's not a punishment. I honestly think that's going to make me value books more and make me more excited when I finally get to go into the store and purchase that book I've been reading to get. And I'm saying new or used books because for a while I was like, oh, well, if I don't buy new books, that's good enough. And then I was spending hundreds of dollars on Pango buying used books that I still haven't read. Rule number 2, I'm going to rely on the library more. And I've already started this. I have already started putting books on hold at the library, making sure my library cards are up to date, getting library cards at multiple libraries in my area, because part of this goal is financial and books are expensive. It's always funny when I buy a used book from Pango and you turn it around and it says paperback, $8 USD. And you're like, excuse me, where? Now paperback books are at least $16 each. Hardcover books start at least $24, and at Barnes & Noble, you're looking at $32 a book. Books are expensive, and I own more books than I have to read this year, so I can't justify going out and buying new books. So if there's a new release that I am just dying to read or am curious about, I need to get comfortable putting it on hold at the library and borrowing it, not automatically buying it. Rule number 3, I'm going to get honest about the books I actually want to read, i.e., if there are books on my shelves that I just have absolutely zero interest in reading at this point, I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. When I was DNFing a book this year, prior to DNFing it, I posted in one of my book Facebook groups something about, oh, does it get better? Like I'm already 50% of the way through. I hate DNFing. And someone commented, girl, life is too short to read a book you're not interested in. When you have so many books you want to read, if you don't like the book, DNF it. Honestly, that has changed my perspective a lot. I'm not going to hold on to these books out of guilt. If I read the synopsis and it doesn't spark my interest, I have other books I want to read. I have books I am dying to read. And part of this challenge is figuring out what belongs on my shelves and what I can part with and be okay with that. Rule number 4, I'm documenting all of it. The wins, the setbacks, the moments where I want to impulse buy, and the process of figuring out what kind of reader I actually am. That's what this series is to me. I want to figure out, were the books that I was hyped up to read something I'm actually interested in reading? And as I move through this process, tailor my own reading taste to who I am. Because at the end of the day, if I am obsessed with murder and thriller books, I know I don't need to buy the latest romance release. Maybe that is one I can borrow from the library and not own on my shelves. Quite honestly, I don't know what books I need to own on my shelves. Need is a strong word, but I think of them as little trophies. But I'm going to get comfortable borrowing, taking pictures, and letting my video diaries be my little trophies. I do think overconsumption in the book community is a conversation more people are starting to have. And I'm not saying that buying books is bad. I love books. I love bookstores. I love collecting stories and supporting indie authors and supporting independent bookstores. But I think there is a difference between loving books and using books to chase an identity, validation, and relevance, which for me is where the line got a little blurry. And it's honestly, it's kind of embarrassing to say, because being a book nerd, anytime I told someone I was going to BookCon, I kind of got made fun of in a way. So it's like, okay, is chasing books for validation the move to make here? But for me, it was about staying relevant. It was about saying, okay, well, I have a book podcast, so I need all these books. Now that I'm 30, I am more than just a book person. I'm strong in my accountant professional career. I have a garden that I love. I have a dog who I care so much about and could just post his picture all the time. And in other ways, I'm still trying to find who I am. You don't have all the answers the older you get. If anything, I think you just get more curious about everything, including yourself. You get curious about who you are and who you're becoming. And books are one part of my identity, but this is the year and this is the time that I'm letting it go. I'm not going to let books and social media and the need for validation define me. I'm going to let it inspire me. I'm going to keep reading stories. I'm going to keep buying books, but I'm going to read 10 books first before I do. So this isn't about minimalism. This isn't about shame. It's not about never buying books again. It's about reconnecting with reading, rediscovering who I am as a reader, because I don't want my shelves to feel like this unfinished homework project. Every time I look at them and I see them collecting dust, thinking, oh, I still haven't read the Shadow and Bone series. I still haven't read Caraval. Man, I still haven't read The Bone Witch, which I really wanted to do 4 years ago. I want it to feel exciting. I want to be like, yes, I finally get to read The Bone Witch. I'm so excited to do this. And then when I do get to go into Barnes & Noble or The Strand or whatever bookstore I find, and I finally get to pick out a book because I've read 10, I can be like, I am so excited to read this. I'm going to jump in right away. So for this first episode, I am just going to start right now, starting the challenge. I'm actually currently reading Shield of Sparrows for our Fable Book Talks Book Club. Is that what we call it? Book Talks Book Club? Book Talks Book Club. Kind of a mouthful. But we're reading Shield of Sparrows, which actually has been on my shelf since before Christmas, and I have been dying to read. So I kind of feel like I'm already doing the challenge just for the book club. But so that one counts. I mean, that's part of my physical unread book. So that one definitely counts. And I am very excited to read it. So now I'm like, ooh, what else am I excited to read? It just feels like the beginning of something for me. Not just a challenge, but kind of a reset, it's almost mid-year. So we'll call it like a mid-year reset. And I know I am not the only person who has a shelf full of books they haven't read. And I know this because I've seen other content creators get on BookTube and make similar videos. I am not the first. There are a lot of us out there who have gotten caught up in the hype of it all, who have gotten caught up in just wanting to be up to date on the latest things or want to have a beautiful bookshelf behind us. And if you're one of those people, if you can relate to this, let me know. Let me know that I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone, but let me know I'm not alone. How many unread books do you think you have? Because I thought 153 is kind of a lot, but for all I know, that's maybe not as bad as it seems. Or for all I know, that's like really bad. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm doing this challenge regardless, and it's something I'm doing for myself. I'm not doing it for anyone but me. Obviously, I'm documenting it and hope you'll come along for the journey, but this really is for me to help me achieve my financial goals, to help me reconnect with reading, to help me reconnect with the local library, which they have so many fun activities you can get involved in. I'm like, was this here the whole time? Or let me know if you think collecting books is part of the fun. If you're like a serial killer who needs a trophy, I'm right there with you. Literally no judgment either way. But I'd love for this to become a conversation. And if you want to follow along for the challenge, definitely hit subscribe because I'm planning to document the entire process. Kayla is going to hold me accountable, and at least once a month, probably when we do our reading wrap-ups for the podcast, she's going to check in with me and she's going to say, okay, Marissa, how many books did you knock off your physical TBR this month? And I'm looking forward to being able to tell her how many I knocked off and which ones I loved the most. And hopefully by the end of this series, these bookshelves will look a little different. It's not the summer I turned pretty, but it is the summer I read my books. That was so stupid. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to start working through my physical TBR and make this a fun challenge where I get to earn new books and fall back in love with reading. And fall back in love with physical reading because it's easy for me to just fall into the habit of listening to audiobooks, which I don't have a problem with. Not going to get into that conversation. I'm a big audiobook supporter, but I'm excited to kind of physically turn the pages again. And I think this challenge will help me do that. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, follow along for the series. I will start linking the next videos at the end of this one every video I drop, and we will make a little playlist of it. You can kind of binge them if you want to wait till they all come out, but they will be coming out through the end of the year and beyond, because let's be honest, 153 books is going to take me at minimum 3 years to get through. Like, at minimum 3 years. Unless I just pop off, like, unless I just really buckle down. But again, slow reader, book podcaster, slow reader. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Look what I just found on sale. $3. Ah! I'm not supposed to be buying any books right now. But I think I have to. This is so hard. Look in the mirror if he is no